Well, we want to thank everybody. My name is who is with us this evening. My name is Beverly Scott, and I am the founder and the CEO for Introducing You to American Infrastructure, Inc. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing is introducing you in these sessions to some of the critical infrastructure sectors, okay? The ones that really are the backbone of what makes us and what makes us in our country and our communities, okay? We have various speakers, and we went through the kickoff last night, and that to just give you an overview of AYA, and that information will in fact wind up being online and readily accessible to everyone as well. So without any further ado, I want to say thank you so much to Professor Omar Castro, who is our point of contact, and we're thrilled to be working with him at San Bernardino Valley College. I believe Isaiah, if you can show, there you are. There's Isaiah is an alumni. He's an alumnus of the program, and he was in our Chicago class, and he is the program coordinator for the Inland Empire. So you'll see with Aya, we walk what we talk. The young people that are part of us, it's not just an event. You stick with us, okay? And then also you'll be meeting Citlali Trujillo, and Citlali is also an Aya alum. And she's in biochemistry, and she's working, does stuff all with the water systems and research and development. So this is your Aya program team. And now with that, I am going to turn it over for the evening to a wonderful team of folks, but I want to really start out with Lisa Reese. Lisa is Vice President and Client Development Leader with HDR. HDR, and I have to say this, HDR was they were an early believer in Aya, and we call them our founding supporter, okay? And sponsor, and they are the ones who indeed are they are the ones who directly are the funding that they give us is what winds up funding what we're able to do with the paid internship opportunities, the community builder internship opportunity that you will also have the opportunity to compete for. And we will have 2 paid internships that will stay with us from the beginning of 2022 all the way through until September, okay? And those paid internships will be at $15 an hour up to. So there's all these instructions that tells you how to do it. But anyway, that's under the community builder intern piece. HDR is a major international firm. They have 200 locations around the world, okay? But the main thing for you is that they have a very long invested Inland Empire office and program, and they've been doing fabulous things with their partners, and you have them here with their partners that are also big Titan engineering architect firms, and that's WSP and Bechtel. Okay, and then there's the Women's Transportation Seminar International. So I'm going to turn it to Lisa now. She's going to take it away with the partners that are here, and God bless you. Thank you so much. Okay, go Lisa.
Okay, well, thank you, Bev, for that lovely introduction. We also have Rachel Yazawa from Mark Thomas and Associates, but we'll introduce ourselves later. I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to be here. I joined HDR 21 years ago. I've always been a person that volunteers in my community, and early on in my career, I realized education attainment in the Inland Empire is a challenge, and there are a lot of folks that could use some more information about careers and infrastructure. So the WTS in particular, we've been for the last 3 or 5 years having classroom to career events with young folks, trying to teach them about careers in transportation. And the opportunity to be here today with all of you is pretty fabulous. And knowing that it's recorded and can be shared with others is super cool too. So we won't spend a lot of time talking about that, but want to get to the program. So Bev introduced me, but I'll go ahead and say again, Lisa Reese, Client Development Leader. I was hired by HDR 21 years ago to establish Inland Empire practice. We now have 50 people here, and we do all kinds of work for all kinds of functions here in the Inland Empire. And I'm going to turn now to the others on the team to introduce themselves. Why don't you go first, Nisa?
Wonderful. My name is Nisa Hester, and I'm a project delivery manager for Bechtel Engineering. We're an international engineering firm. I've been working for them for 10 years now. I'm going on my 11th year now, and I'll tell you a little bit more about myself later on in the program.
Alana? Alana is our co-chair for Classroom to Careers and actually has been very instrumental in preparing this presentation. So thank you, Alana.
Thank you, Lisa. Hi, everyone. I'm Alana Flaherty. I'm an environmental planner at WSP, also an international engineering firm. I'll also get into more details about my background and a little bit more about the work I do later in this presentation. So thank you again, and I'm excited to be here. Rachel?
Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel Yazawa. I am a design engineer for Mark Thomas. We are solely in California, and we're about medium-sized consulting company. I've been at Mark Thomas for about 2 years now, but have been in the transportation industry for about 5. Go for it, Eric.
All right. Thank you, Rachel. Hey, everyone. My name is Eric Aubry. I'm a rail transit project engineer with HDR. I work with Lisa Reese and Alma, who you'll hear from in a second. I started my career about 7 years ago with HDR, and then 10 years if you count my college. I went to Cal Poly Pomona. All right, Alma?
Hi, I'm Alma Valencia. I work as a construction office engineer. I also work for HDR. I'm currently on the I-10 design build project, and I started at HDR 7 years ago. I've been in the industry 11 years, and I went to college in 2004. So been around for a while.
All right. Well, one thing you should know about all of these folks on this call today is they've all been instrumental in assisting in the classroom to career outreach to teach people about careers in transportation. So they're super fired up to be here with you today. So the next thing I'm going to do is turn it over to our friend Nisa to introduce the project life cycle chart. So Alana, if we can please take over control of the presenting and share.
Together, anything is possible. We believe that the way we work can add meaning and value to the world, that ideas inspire change, that coloring outside the lines can illuminate fresh perspectives, and that small details yield important realizations. Above all, we believe that collaboration is the best way forward. So while we are most well known for delivering architecture and engineering services, for adding beauty and structure to communities through high-performance buildings and smart infrastructure, we provide much more than that. We create an unshakable foundation for progress because our multidisciplinary teams also include the firepower of archaeologists, economists, builders, analysts, artists, and scientists. Our employees, working around the world, push open the doors to what's possible each and every day.
Thank you, Alana. Sorry, I didn't have my act together there to prompt the beginning of the presentation. I was a little nervous. Anyway, okay, you saw and met all of us. Now we're getting into the project life cycle, which is the fun stuff. So Nisa, I'm going to let you take it away. And I've had the privilege of working with Nisa for as long as she's been with Bechtel, and she's an absolute joy, and we're so pleased to have her as part of this committee.
You know, I appreciate that. I have to say that I'm only as good as the people that I work with. So that goes to Lisa is awesome as well. So I've actually worked with the majority of the individuals that are on today's panel. It looks like Alma and Eric. So you'll, and others that I can't wait to work with. I'll start off by giving you a little information about myself. I grew up not in the Inland Empire, but ended up in the Inland Empire. I started off probably just like the majority of you, not quite knowing what I wanted to do, but had some interest in life and some experiences like surfing and skateboarding. hanging out with my friends. But when it came to school, I had some areas that I had some struggles in, like mathematics and writing. And so as any parent will make you do, is to make you strong in those areas that you're weak. And I worked really hard at mathematics and surfing. and in high school, my first job was at McDonald's, just like the majority of people, right? And after high school, I decided to go to a two-year college, a junior college in Santa Monica, for nursing, believe it or not. And that is not where I ended up. Shortly after getting into some of my human anatomy courses, I discovered that I was not a strong suit for nursing. I'm a little squeamish with blood, and sought out the help of my counselors in college and some childhood friends, and their parents led me to civil engineering. And so that's how I ended up, after the two-year college, I went on to Cal State LA and Cal State Poly, or Cal Poly rather, and finished my 4-year degree in civil engineering. And so that's how I became a civil engineer. My first job was with Caltrans. And the best part about Caltrans is you don't have to be a civil engineer to work for Caltrans. They have a long list of positions that you can enter into with or without a degree. And I do suggest that if you're in college, that you seek out internship with them. And even if you decide to enter into a trade, that you seek them out as well. It was a great opportunity for me. So, and so I'm very familiar with the Caltrans way of going process for a project. And so today I'm going to introduce to you the project lifecycle. And so my current role is a project delivery manager for Bechtel. In other words, I'm a project manager. I make certain that the project is, that people are considered when we're developing a project throughout the entire project, the people that we're going to be serving with the project. I assist with identifying how we're going to pay for it. I assist with collecting a group of individuals, as we have on today's panel, to conduct the work for it, ensure that we stay within budget, and then deliver it so that you can utilize it. So starting off at the very beginning, Alana, I don't know if you're able to zoom in to the very first. Oh, perfect. So first we identify a need, and I'm going to try to not be too long-winded, but all of us are able to start a project, believe it or not. A lot of the Caltrans projects that I worked on, someone in the community identified that there was a need. There was an area that there were accidents, and so that meant that there needed to be more improvements to the highway, more roads, or they identified that they couldn't get from one place to another. And so you identify a project need. It doesn't have to be with the agency. You can make that change. And then a decision is made to go on along with the project. And the project is then, the project team is developed. And that project team then looks at every aspect. It could be the environment, ensuring that they're not endangering any resource that's currently there, such as we're not preventing people from crossing the street. We're not killing any species of birds or habitat that are needed. And so it could be a little lengthy, but all the individuals that you see here, environmentalists, engineers, architects, they are all part of this process in developing and preparing the project. And so, Alana, if you could go down to where we have prepare project report. And so in this project report, they identify all of these impacts. They identify where the project's going to be, how it's going to affect the public, how it's going to affect the environment. They tell you what the cost is going to be, and they tell you how they're going to make things better. I'm getting back a little. Okay, so then after that, they prepare this report and they send it out to the public so that they can comment on it. Because when you're so focused on a project, sometimes you don't see everything. And so the individuals that come into play in this section or this area are individuals such as Eric Aubry. Eric Aubry is a rail engineer, correct, Eric? And if you could tell me a little bit about what you do at this phase of a project when you're developing a project.
Sure thing, Nisa. So in this phase, we're really doing the preliminary engineering work. We're getting together with our teams, discussing what the current site looks like right now. And then we start a design of where we want, for my case, the railroads to go. And then that's when we bring in other folks outside of railroad engineering to provide their input. And we put together our package for submitting our deliverable.
Awesome. And then we have Rachel Yazawa, who's joined us also. And Rachel is a design engineer as well, but she's a highway design engineer, a civil engineer. Can you offer some information about what you would do at this stage of the project, Rachel?
Yeah, so similar to Eric on the railroad side, I work almost the counterpart of it on the railroad side, on the roadway side, working on main line. So doing almost the same types of things that Eric is doing, just for roadway projects. Awesome.
Eric, can you tell me a little bit about what made you want to be an engineer and how you got here?
Sure. It actually wasn't very intentional. I kind of fell into engineering. So in high school, I took my math and science classes and really enjoyed those and did well at those. So I was encouraged by some of my teachers to pursue a career in engineering. And also that's what a lot of my friends were doing. So I decided to apply to different colleges and fortunately got into Cal Poly Pomona. So I studied civil engineering there, had a great time there. And then towards the end of my career, I realized I needed to get real life experience. So I had a friend that worked at HDR in our Irvine office, and he encouraged me to apply. And then I set up an interview with Riverside, and luckily I got it, and I've been here ever since. So I interned my last 2 years and been here 5 years after that.
That's awesome. I've worked with Eric as well, and
yeah, back
I think
when I was an intern.
You were an intern then, which makes me so excited. I see your trajectory, and it's going to go much further than this. That's for sure. And so one of the things that Eric pointed out that I would love to emphasize is that internship is important. Speak it. Go talk to people. If you're having a hard time, ask them, does your company have interns? Is there, even if it's not in your specific field, there's something to be gained from the experience. And I would like to go back to Rachel also. I love Rachel's story. Rachel, if you can offer a little bit about how you ended up as being an engineer.
Sure. In high school, I didn't even know what the word engineer was. I was really good at math, and so someone threw out, engineering, you might be good at it. I was really into the environment too. So, I had all the intentions of being an environmental engineer going into college. I, as well as Eric, did go to Cal Poly Pomona. So I went in as a civil engineering major. I also enjoyed learning about structures. So I did stick with the civil engineering route. I ended up taking a transportation design class and enjoyed that a lot, especially because I felt like you can really make a difference of people's everyday lives. Everyone drives or uses some form of transportation almost every day. So I thought that was really cool. I ended up interning at Michael Baker, another consulting firm, and I was going to school at the same time. And ever since, I've been working on Caltrans city projects, pretty big transportation projects. So it's been five years now, and I've loved it ever since.
Thank you, Rachel. I can't wait to work with you in the future. So Rachel and both Eric, they work pretty much through this process I'm going to go through in its entirety. And then they have opportunities later in construction to also add value to a project. So they go through the process of preparing the project scope and the estimates of the costs and plans. And it's on a preliminary kind of level. And then it gets finalized. And then the design is complete. And then it goes out to advertise. And that's kind of where Lisa Reese comes in as well. She comes in with her team and she says, this is what we can do for you. This is how we can build this quickly, efficiently, safely, and within your budget. And then she brings in a host of members to help me figure out how we're going to execute the project. And Lisa, I don't know if you want to offer how you got into your career.
Wow. Okay. Well, as an English communications major, I thought I wanted to be a news broadcaster, but then I realized I'd have to stick the microphone in someone's face and say, hey, you just lost the big game. How do you feel about that? And that they might make fun of my hair and my clothes. And I decided I just didn't want to have anything to do with that. So I stumbled into it myself, just like others have said. I went to work for an architectural photographer, making cold calls, trying to get architects and builders to buy their pictures for their brochures. And eventually I ended up working for an engineering company. When HDR hired me, they hired me to establish the office here, which means, like Nisa said, I go out to the clients and I study their strategic plans, their budgets, and their programs, and I try to figure out what the best projects are that HDR has the capability to assist in delivering, and then I introduce people. I would say that's the thing I do. I'm the bridge between HDR and our clients. And then I continue to make sure that we do a good job, because if you don't do a good job, you won't get another job. So anyway, continues to be my role. I also help coach interviews and presentations and things, which I'm embarrassed to say I wasn't on my game today with that video, but also we want to call on Alana before we get to
absolutely. So I'm gonna
so
very quickly we go through this process, and Alana is the next person that comes into play. She actually starts off early in the project when we're trying to figure out how things are going to affect the environment. Alana, if you could offer what you do for the project as well.
Sure. So once we get some preliminary engineering, we get an idea of where the project may be going, and say about 60% of the design is complete. We can start to evaluate some of the impacts, environmental impacts that the project may have. So we go through kind of a overview, research, and analysis of any impacts that we could potentially foresee the design having on the surrounding area. And, we can make maybe we don't have a really good understanding and we see some potential impacts for this project. We may have to go into a further level of analysis. So there's a few different tiers of impacts that we can kind of evaluate for the project. And so we look at technical analyses. So specialists will, in that respective field, for example, biological resources, the animals, the plants, waterways, they will take a look at the project, do a deep dive into potential impacts, So if a new, if we're expanding a road and it's over a creek, is it going to impact species in that creek? Is it going to impact the creek itself and the vegetation supporting that ecosystem? And so we kind of analyze that, and we come up with mitigation measures if we do have impacts. So, it could be a variety of different types of mitigation measures, but we kind of provide these recommendations, and we coordinate with agencies and the project development team themselves and the engineers to maybe come up with a different approach to that crossing. Can we minimize our footprint in that area? So we do a lot of coordinating between the different agencies, the project stakeholders, and we eventually get feedback from the public, and we take that feedback into consideration. So once we compile all of our analyses into an overall document, we hand it out to the public, we circulate it for a number of days so we can receive comments and take that into consideration when we're analyzing the overall impact that the project may have. So I may have touched on maybe a few other points within that.
But I have to say that
cycle.
Alana's impact on the project doesn't only start at the very beginning, but it goes through the entire life of the project. Even after the project is completed, she needs to ensure that what was planned is carried out and it came to fruition even after the project is done and we're using it. So Alana, thank you. And then as we move through the project to the construction phase, Alana and Alma are definitely part of it with us. And Alma is in the construction focus. She carries the project through construction and then closes it out. And so Alma, if you can offer a little bit about what you do.
Hi, so yes, I'm part of the construction management team usually, and we're here to manage contractors, subcontractors, vendors, and verify quality on the project. When somebody starts to dig, we're there to watch, right? So the point of my job is basically record documents to record what goes on and how things are built and with what quality, and we document all aspects of construction. And with that, we go into construction or closeout. Excuse me, we go into closeout after that, where we turn over record documents in case there are any claims or any issues after the fact, after the construction has completed. That's primarily what I do is document management, program management, and construction management. But I also am a licensed engineer, so I provide assistance to our resident engineers in-house, and I also provide assistance to our construction manager when we are working on document control and as well as inspection staff and whatnot. Once we start construction, we have to go through the process of getting acceptance of proper shop drawings and working drawings and RFIs for all the construction activities out in the field. So design has our first design product, which is the design packages, and then they come out, and if there's anything that has to change, we will go through an RFI process, which is request for information, and we would provide our knowledge and approval of any changes that could possibly go to a design. And and at that point, we document all this process, and then it goes out to a field for when it gets built, and we document it as an as-built in our final product, which is also turned over during closeout. So
that is a lot of effort. Alma, I think Alma, out of all of us, had some lineage towards being a civil engineer. She probably had an example in her household. And so can you tell us a little bit about how you end up being an engineer, and was it forced?
Absolutely not forced. It was like a nudge. So my father and my uncle and now my cousins are all engineers. I went to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and I was very good at math. I'm not so good at writing or English or anything. Math was my strong point. And I definitely gravitated to the idea of, providing solutions to problems. That was one of my biggest things, is that I have a problem, I want to find the solution. And so that's how I basically gravitated towards engineering. Civil engineering kind of like the idea of being able, as Rachel said earlier, was you kind of have that impact on a lot of people when you're in type highways and transportation. I mean, rail, flat, aeronautical engineering, you have a lot of impact. And it's important to keep in mind that you're one person, but you mean a lot to this industry. So it's really nice to know that.
Absolutely. And then Alana, being in environmental studies, it was not something that I was so familiar with when I was younger. How did you end up being an environmental specialist, Alana?
Well, yeah, thanks, Nisa. I always gravitated towards, nature. I grew up in Hawaii, and I was, I was just outdoors a lot, and I love the nature, and I wanted to implement that into my daily life and maybe career. So after high school, I moved to California to attend the University of Redlands. And there I received my bachelor's in environmental business. So kind of integrating environmental studies and business and trying to find a good median between the two. And so during that time, I had a mentor who was actually an environmental planner, and I just known her kind of my whole life. And so she was nudging me to take courses that would help me in my career to become an environmental planner. There, I also received my minor in spatial studies, which is GIS. And I interned at Esri in Redlands there. And I kind of found out that I do want to go into a more technical aspect. And so environmental planning seemed like a more fitting role. So from there, I just continued to take courses that would lead me to environmental planning. And so from there, after I graduated, I knew I wanted to go directly into the workforce industry. And so I started applying, and fortunately, I was offered a job at WSP, and I've been here now for 3 years. So
that's awesome. So when I was going through this list, these are only a few of the positions we have in the cycle of a project. We have electricians, plumbers, masonry. We have individuals that specialize in reinforcement, such as iron workers. We have individuals that specialize in just going out and looking at habitat, making certain that we're not damaging it while we're constructing. Administrators that are, what people term them as being secretaries. I don't like that word very much, but administrators that do so much. They help form a project along with the rest of us. And so, and the public is also very much so a part of this process as well. So I know that we have other things on this program, but I would love in the future to share all the other options that you have to pursue to work in the transportation industry.
You know what, Nisa, and one thing
Yes.
that's so great about this that you all are doing is that Caltrans is actually going to have an evening as well. Okay, so
Oh, awesome.
is your highway department, and District 8, which is the area for the Inland Empire, will be coming to speak specifically about all of the jobs that are the kinds of opportunities along the way. So this is excellent. Okay.
I hope all of you can actually participate, those are listening tonight. I hope you can participate in that because it kind of opens your avenue. I don't know if you saw, there was a common thread between all of us. We did not know what we were going to do until someone came into our life and told us about, oh, maybe you want to be an environmentalist. Maybe, oh, you like birds, you know, oh, you're really good at mathematics. Or in my case, someone told me that I was very caring and that I would be a great nurse, but I had other aspirations that led me to be a civil engineer. But,
and then the other thing too is that you heard was, I thought I wasn't so good in this, but I wasn't going to take me out, okay? Because I can tell you that story, okay? I was thrown out of the high school chemistry class by Wtsi. I'll never forget it. And I was like, oh my God, calculus, okay? And I was determined we were going to dance because I was not going to let my own fear of math and science that had evolved. I said, well, we're going to dance on this because I am not letting this wind up taking me out. So what? Yes. So you get a resilience that says, wait a minute. No, that's not happening. So you heard some of that also wound up.
Yes, Miss Beverly. If I can ask everyone, have you ever had a tutor or had someone teach you something that you could not grasp? I had a tutor in school. I sought out help when I felt as if I had a challenge. I did not let the challenge get me. I got the challenge. So,
that's right.
Encouraging all of you to seek out a neighbor, a friend, a parent of a friend, counselors, what have you. Find a source to get you through that difficult subject that you're working on.
And then another theme that came through was right from the beginning, and we say that infrastructure is really about community building. Right from the beginning, the first box said project need.
Yes.
Project need, and who frames that? Who has the opportunity to frame that? Are people within communities. So one of the things we say too is that Aya is as much about you appreciating what role, responsibility that you can make a difference. All of us can make a difference.
Yes.
Of the kind of projects that are built in our communities. Okay.
Absolutely. I know we are running so long on this slide and I apologize. If we could go to the very next slide, Alana, that would be great. This next slide is a video that Riverside County Transportation Commission developed for the I-15 express lanes that just opened in March. And it has some incredible people. All these people on this project had a similar trajectory as you've heard from all these individuals.
Get this extremely high-tech $3,000 drone.
Maybe not the ad, but we'll wait until the ad's done. Here we go.
Watching.
Yeah, YouTube. Here we go. Enjoy.
RCTC has been laser focused on delivering projects that improve mobility, that improve safety, and provide people more options for traveling within Riverside County.
We're finally seeing the I-15 express lanes opening up, and it's just been such a powerful thing for our community. Once the new connector is done from the 15 to the 91, we'll finally see a great network of express lanes for all of Western Riverside County.
RCTC is excited to celebrate the opening of the I-15 Express Lanes project and the start of the 1591 Express Lane Connector.
This is the Santa Ana River Bridge. It's over 1,500 feet long, and there are 65 precast girders placed. To me, when I look at that bridge, it's an iconic structure that will be here for years to come.
You can just imagine trying to close the freeway 65 times. The concept of using what are called precast girders began very early in the process. We didn't have to put construction materials down on the riverbed. We were able to just set those girders from the freeway directly into place.
We utilized a gantry crane which rode on the existing bridge rather than a conventional crane setting in the bottom of the river, which would have been a greater environmental impact.
In a more conventional scenario, we would have had to use boom cranes, which would have required full closures of the freeway. I think we saved about 6 months of construction time going with that precast girder arrangement.
We are really proud of the work that was done in environmentally sensitive areas. We wanted to make sure that we protected those species and the habitat down in the Santa Ana River and in the Wash.
The project's within a sensitive environmental area. We have wildlife species such as bats and burrowing owls that we're analyzing. My team is ensuring that we're protecting the environment while we're constructing our project through design and construction.
We love bats. We love the bats because they eat a lot of the bugs, particularly the mosquitoes. And of course, West Nile disease is always a concern because it can be fatal to horses.
Once we're completed with construction of the project, we will return the areas back to its original condition. I expect that the environment would be better once we're finished with the project.
There was existing trails in the Santa Ana River that were impacted by the construction, and as part of that impact, we relocated the trail and provided a safer crossing after the construction was completed.
Well, we always had a crossing there, and it's a really integral part of our trail system, so it was important that we keep that trail. It's very important that the RCTC valued that trail system and recognized the importance of that area staying natural and part of something that future generations will be able to enjoy in its natural state.
These projects have been very valuable for Riverside County and the job market. 5,500 jobs have been created through these projects, so this has been very beneficial for us.
I live right here in Norco. The nice thing is that I support my community, whether it be for our horses buying all our feed here or my family buying all our food here. So it's nice to see that my wages that I've earned are going right back into the community.
When you build in America, you gotta make sure it's built right. It's gonna benefit the community, it's gonna benefit my family, my friends, and it's gonna benefit everybody.
During my travels, I had the opportunity to drive on the 15 and see the workers out there on a daily basis. And it was wonderful to see a crew that are giving their all through these unusual times and doing such a great job. And I give it to the crew because they've done a fantastic job.
Two companies came together to build this project, and everybody worked hand in hand together to complete the project in a timely manner, safe manner.
We're basically adding a connector. It's going to be an express lane in the middle of the freeway, which should reduce congestion on the general purpose lanes on the same pathway. South 15 to West 91, East 91 to North 15. I think it'll be a big benefit for the drivers, yes.
We want to shorten your commute. We want to reduce congestion. We want to provide more options on how to get to and from work. But most importantly, quality of life in Riverside County is our goal.
While I'm using the 9115 express lanes, my Mustang gets about 22 miles per gallon, so it's saving me time and money. Using the 9115 express lanes definitely gives me a better quality of life.
I think for a lot of residents in my city in Wildomar, when they're going north on the 15, we'll be able to look over and appreciate how quickly traffic is moving compared to what it used to do before the I-15 express lanes were there.
One of the great things is this will help our first responders. They get stuck on the freeway just like you and I, and this will help them get through the traffic and be able to help those that need their help.
This also helps bring more businesses to Riverside County, and that's really important because we need to bring more jobs to Riverside County where people are living because of the high quality of life.
This is a public investment, and we are definitely all in this together.
The express buses, they get to utilize the new lanes and they can get people to work, enjoying the time, not having to drive in the traffic.
We had over 250 union craft workers out here for over a year, and they're very professional. And absolutely the challenges of 2020 have been something that I couldn't even have contemplated before it happened. And the completion of this project is essential.
Once this project is done, and with the 15 connector, allowing our drivers to finally move a little quicker on our freeway systems, and also as we finally are starting to come out of COVID, I believe the future looks bright for Western Riverside County.
Oh, that gives me a sense of pride right there. That project started from a need, a public need, and just imagine the great majority of the individuals that worked on the project were working on a project in their own neighborhood. And so that they saw the benefit of their efforts at the end of the project as well. So very proud of them. And I know the backstory of a couple of those individuals as well. The gentleman, Brandon, who was on there, he started off in the Navy after high school and served in the Navy for 4 years, and then after sought out a degree in civil engineering. And so he took a different trajectory, a little bit longer than some that planned to only go for 4 years, but an awesome person and so knowledgeable, and his life experiences before he became an engineer have served him well. And I could go on and on. The stories behind all these people, it is definitely achievable if you listen to their stories.
We definitely have more time for stories, but now we have a break for 10 minutes, right? Break time. Okay, so 10-minute break, everybody. Come back in 10 minutes because we've got more for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oops. I think that was a good exploration of the project and the different types of roles that people have had. I'm hoping for the next 20 minutes or so, we could share stories about some of the meaningful things. We've already been doing that, but some of the meaningful things that have happened to us in our career, a mentor that you met, or some project in particular where you felt like you really made a difference in the world. Because one of the things I want everybody to know on this in this program is that these are problem solvers. You don't really have to know what you want to be. What you need to know is, are you the kind of person that wants to make the world a better place? And if you are, and most of us are, all you have to do is keep looking, and you'll walk into something and it will provide opportunity to you. Like Nisa said, most of us didn't choose as a child to become what we are today. And it was because of the path that we took and the people that we met that we found our way. And we'll continue to learn and change as we go through life. But I would say, I remember back in school, I was an orphan. My family died. I was from the wrong side of the tracks, and people would say to me, oh, she's going to turn out just like her mother, which my mother wasn't a bad person, but she had a very sad story and was gone at a young age. But I remember when people would say that, they would whisper it about me. Poor little orphan girl's going to turn out just like her mother or whatever. That made me angry. And sometimes anger can be a motivator. It was for me because I was upset that by the age of 14, people had made up their mind about me and decided that I wasn't going to amount to anything in my life. So I was determined to show everybody that I could be somebody, that I could do something. And I've spent my career helping to build a better community. And in my spare time, I spend time working to try to help folks to see that they can make the world a better place too. Even if they started out with humble beginnings and their parents didn't go to college and they don't have anyone helping them figure out how to do the SAT, there are people out there who will help you, and all you have to be is determined. You have to make up your mind that you're going to do something with your life and that you will make the world a better place. And once you make that decision, it's amazing how many people will come and help you. People will help you proof your resume or proof your application for that scholarship. They'll encourage you, go to the career office and take an aptitude test. One of the best things I ever took as a professional actually was, it was called the Gallup Strength Finder. And it ranks all of the strengths that you have as a person. Gallup has been doing this for 100 years. They found that people have, there are 34, I think it is, different characteristics of people. And it's very unusual when you take this test that you would ever meet anyone in your life that has the top 5 strengths that you do. So when you take this test, it gives you a report and it tells you all of the things that you would be great at. And what amazed me about it is I had already been working in my profession for 20 years or 25 years when I took this test. But the way that it ranked, I'm perfect for my job. And I'm just really lucky that I stumbled into it. But what I would say to you is that you have the opportunity now to do that. You could, it's a $20 book. It comes with a code. You could take the Strength Finder test. And not only does it tell you what you would be good at, it tells you the type of people that you need to partner with to make yourself stronger, which is a very enlightening thing too, because almost everything in life is team oriented. And that's one of the things we all have to be good at, is working on a team. So anyway, I don't want to talk anymore, but to turn it over to someone else like Lana, Alma, I see you smiling there. Tell us one of the stories about, you know, I know your dad was a career Caltrans guy, but tell us a story about being on the job or something that you've done so far that has encouraged you that you made the right choice.
Right. So it's almost every day something happens and I'm like, yeah, I nailed that. You know? But when I first graduated from college, I didn't have a job in this industry. Even though I was an engineer, I had a degree, it was 2008 and there were no jobs. But you know, I kept at it, I kept persistent, and finally somebody was like, you're an engineer and you work in an optometry, you know, office. So that's when I was like, yeah. He's like, well, we have a position for you here if you want to come and learn and kind of get your feel of the industry, because it was my first kind of feeling, and it was the I-215 segment 1 and 2 widening right through San Bernardino. I was on that project and I learned from one of the best mentors I had. Her name was Linda Smoot. She's another office engineer. And she, her degree was in, she went to FITM University and her degree was in textiles. So she's not even close to construction or transportation or engineering, but she just rocked it at office engineering, and she was amazing and she was so smart, and I learned so much from her. And I think when I saw her in that position, and I'm like, this is a good job. Like, I like what I do. I love my position. I love my job. And I think from someone who wasn't even an engineer, loved what she did, and I learned from her, it kept me wanting to go more and more. And every time, you know, I cross the bridge, I'd be like, I help manage, build that. You know, every time I see a wall, I'd be like, I remember those plans. So it's, you go about your life after the fact and you see accomplishments that you yourself can see it physically out there. It's very satisfying, and I wouldn't change anything about my career. I think it was been very wonderful, and I can't wait to see what comes next. My current job, I mean, it's crazy how big it is. It's almost $1 billion of funding. And where can you say that anywhere else? That this is a large project. It's large and it impacts millions upon millions of people. So it's a good feeling. And to not start from, you know, yes, my father was an engineer with Caltrans. My uncle was an engineer at Caltrans. No one was hiring. So I was like, well, I guess I'm not going to Caltrans, which is fine. And I feel like I didn't need to. You can start anywhere, no matter where you come from. And Linda taught me that.
How about you, Alana? You told a little bit about your mentor that you knew all your life. Maybe tell us about some species that you've saved on one of your projects, or how you made sure that no one would hurt them.
Sure. Let's see. So let's think about this one, which is my favorite. So one project that I'm still working on to this date is the Sterling Natural Resource Center, and it's local to the San Bernardino area. Basically, it's a wastewater treatment facility. And so basically it'll take wastewater, filter, treat it, and eventually it discharges to an outfall location where from there, the recycled water now, after it's been treated, will percolate down into the ground and eventually recharge the groundwater in that basin. And so the discharge has been, when you discharge, you're impacting all of that area. And we've really been focusing in on San Bernardino kangaroo rats. And they're an endangered species, both state and federal. And so, when you first hear, oh, like you're saving a rat, first of all, they're really, really cute. They're not your average rat. They're really sweet and small and really cute. So we have to make sure that, we're not impacting either the species themselves or the habitat they're in. So when we discharge all of that water to percolate down and eventually get into the groundwater, that's essentially, it could impact their homes. So we have to, coordinate and make sure we're not discharging in that location. And if we are, we have different routes we can take, like relocating the species and making a habitat somewhere else for them. So that's been one thing, that I've been working on, and, essentially saving them and moving them, or not being in that location, and having a species that's both state and federal, that's a really important thing to keep, because this is a very important location for them to thrive and live in. So that's one of, it's really interesting. And
did you get to go out in the field and look at their habitat and see where they were living and what impacts the water release was having on their habitat?
So as an environmental planner, I did not do that. Our technical specialist, so you can be a biologist, and they go out into the field and do those surveys. So we had a team who did that, and they did the survey, and they found where they were living and where they weren't, and we can map out where they are located so we can avoid them or mitigate for those impacts.
It just like a sidebar on that, if anybody's ears are being piqued by the idea of an environmental specialist or to save the kangaroo rat or any of the environmental species, UCR has a certificate program. You go on Saturdays on field trips, and they take you all over Southern California, and they show you the habitat and where all these special species live, so that you can learn about it. And then you could be one of those environmental field biologists that help to save those species. So just food for thought there. How about you, Eric? Do you have any stories that you would like to tell us besides what you've shared already?
Yeah, actually, when you asked about mentors and such, I was thinking back. The first one that I think I had professionally happened in college. Actually, two of them. And it's funny how things come back around. So my college advisor that I had, she was also my ASCE advisor. So in school, I was a part of the American Society of Civil Engineers, which is a professional organization that helps students get acclimated into the field of engineering. And we do different community service events and different outreach events. And just recently, I finished serving on the board of our local chapter, and I was again working with her. And that was a great pleasure, and just an example of how small the industry is and how much of a community that we have here. And then
I'm sure she was proud.
yes, she was. That was really cool getting to work with her again, but now as a professional on the other side of the table. And another example earlier in my career was working with a senior engineer in our office you're very familiar with, Chuck Christopoulos. He helped me a lot early in my career. And going through school, you learn some stuff, but you don't learn everything. So it's important that you have those mentors early on in your career. And he definitely served that role for me. I remember, so Chuck's very old school. So he had me do a lot of things by pen and paper. And normally in college, you're using all the, the design programs and everything. So that was a cool lesson learned from him. I'm very fortunate to have that experience. And then fast forward a couple of years later, in my early career, and I was, questioning, did I really want to be an engineer and how I was enjoying it? And then Lisa Reese kind of stepped into that role. I'm sure you recall those conversations we had a couple of years ago, and you helped me get on the right path, and also very fortunate to have you serve as a mentor for me.
Thank you, Eric. That's so kind. I'm so glad you're still with HDR. We love you. Eric, thank you. So Rachel, how about you? Rachel's another one of my favorite young professionals. She's worked very closely with the WTS team in raising money and helping the WTS community to reach out to young people and teach them about these careers. I can't see your face on my video feed, but I hope you're ready.
Yep, I'm right here. Yeah, in WTS, I've met so many people that, I've asked questions, and it doesn't have to be even like a formal mentor, right? It's just someone that you look up to and aspire to be. But early on, like just going back to college, I struggled a lot. Like my first year in college, it's a big life change, right? Moving away from home, especially being an introvert and having social anxiety and too scared to make friends. But one thing that I did do was join an organization similar to ASCE, like Eric. It was called Wtsi, so Society of Women Engineers. And actually I made a lot of actually my best friends like till this day. So that group of friends actually motivates me to do better. Seeing everyone else succeed really makes me want to be the best engineer as possible. And also just looking up to people like Lisa and Nisa, it's just, you just want to aspire and be in that position one day. And it really motivates me to, want to be the best. So that's one of the things. And also in the projects that I've been working on, like I've only been working in the industry for 5 years, but there have been a few of the projects that I've been working on that have already been built. And the coolest part is that, you see it on paper. And so you're in this technical world, but it's completely different when you go out into the field and you're like, wow, like I built that curve return, or I made this crosswalk better so that, people who are ADA are able to access it, or it's just so cool that you don't realize how much of a difference you're making when you're working behind a computer screen, but when you see it in person, it's amazing.
That's for sure. Nisa, I saved you for last because I know you have all kinds of stories.
Oh my goodness, I do have tons of stories. So those of you that don't know, this is probably my 24th year post graduating from college, and so I've had a lot of interactions with individuals, even their fathers, in some case, because I've been around long enough. And so, if I could share this one thing, I had had challenges with math in junior high, and my next door neighbor was a teacher, and so he didn't teach math, but he sure did help me with helping me out with math problems at sometimes. So I'm gonna tell you about people in my community that gave me support throughout my trajectory to this point. And so my father told me that every problem had a solution. He was not a engineer by degree, but he was very much so a mechanical engineer, and he worked on diesel engines. His trajectory, I don't know if many of you know about farming, but his family and he were farmers, and probably the hardest working farmers, because he didn't own the property that they farmed off of, but they worked as hard as they could to support their family. And so his trajectory to where he came to be as an adult is quite impressive. So my father was also the one who supported me. He told me that my maiden name is Collier, and so Colliers, he said, they don't give up. And that alone told me that I could do anything. But along the way, I had math teachers that saw that I got something and then told me to go teach others. And so that he knew in my heart that Mr. Newcomb, my favorite math teacher, as Miss Beverly remembers her teachers as well. But Mr. Newcomb was like, I want you to go, every person that got this problem wrong, I want you to go and teach them. And so what it did is it not only, every time that I taught someone, I solidified some of the knowledge that I had. In college, I joined the Latin Society of Civil Engineers. I am not. But it was the community that I saw, that I felt the most part of. They were the
I bet it was fun though.
Oh my gosh.
Like Latino, not the dead language of Latin, Latino. Right?
Yes. Latinos in science engineering. It was my godparents were from Chihuahua, Mexico, so very familiar and spoke Spanish enough to feel like I could communicate. And so in college, it seemed like a direct a direct connection to where I would seek out assistance during college. And so I encourage those that are going that route to seek out others to assist them. And so these communities of like-minded individuals, they were all science and engineering majors, and the people that supported that group, faculty, they found ways to feed them during finals, had a place for them to study, a place where I slept in between classes. I also was one of those lucky individuals that started a family before I finished high school. And so it gave me an opportunity to understand the worth of my education even before I had it. If I know that the adults understand what I'm saying, but if you have someone that you have to support, family member, your child, your parents, your siblings, what have you, you understand how much that education means and what it can do for you and your family. So I had lots of people that all I had to do was ask for their support, and they were willing to do it. So if I can offer one piece of advice, ask for support and don't give up. If that one person says they can't help you, there is someone out there that's willing to help you. And it could be your own colleague. Like it could be a student that's sitting next to you who wants to help, just as I did in junior high, that student that wanted to help, right? Someone, anyone. So I could give you so many of my life lessons or experiences with my job, but I have to say that it's the people that I've encountered that make my life worth living. That's for sure. and that I am supporting my community.
That's for sure too. And it's fun because we're doing it together.
Absolutely.
So from here, we're going to go into a little exercise. Alana and Rachel are going to share with you. Well, actually, I think Alana's going to share with you the Move It application and that you can download from the App Store. It could teach you how to take transit to San Bernardino Valley College from your house. So if Alana is able to get to the slide where that is, then we can get started with that demonstration. What I would say to you is, even if you don't go into a career of transportation, transportation is your ticket to wherever it is that you want to go. So once you learn how to use an app like Move It, you don't even have to have a car. You can go wherever you want to go. You just have to be determined. So with that, I'm going to leave it to you, Alana.
Sure. Thank you, Lisa. So this is a little different than the first half of our kind of presentation, but we thought it would be fun to kind of show you some real life application for this app. And, you know, this gives, like Lisa said, a good opportunity for you to go anywhere, you know, using public transportation. And I learned about this taking public transportation myself, and I thought it was better than any other app. And basically it provides you train and bus times, obviously this map, live navigation and real-time arrival information. So, you know, I would use it over Google Maps or any other maps because it really provides like a descriptive and accurate location of where to go to get on that bus, and it'll tell you and give you like a notification when you get off the bus, like, okay, you're 3 stops away, and then it'll tell you, okay, get off here. So it really is very straightforward and easy to use. So I just thought this was a really good resource to maybe share with you all in case you're not familiar with it. So here, this is the online version, and so you could access it from your phone or your computer. And basically what I've done here is just kind of quickly added in the Metrolink San Bernardino station. And then the endpoint here is the college. So, I mean, you could put in anywhere. And this is, you know, you could go anywhere. So basically, if we were to write in here, let's see, Valley College, and, you know, it's a pretty short stint there. So it basically, it gives you, it's like any other mapping solution or software, but it really tells you where to get on exactly and how many stops you go, and then how to get there from the endpoint and where to walk throughout the college to get exactly to your destination. So I thought maybe after showing you just a quick overview of the application itself, if you folks want to download it on your cell phones, if you have a cell phone or if you have access to it, or on a computer. I realize you are all in person, but for those of you who may be on the line here, let's see, I'm not used to the hybrid version of this, but let's see how this can work.
Get the presentation, so they'll be able to do this after the class if they're interested.
Right, or you could just, yeah, Google it on your app store if you have it ready to go.
Yeah, it was pretty easy after you informed me of this app. I just went to the app store. Oh, there's Alma. She's showing you.
You got it.
One of the most. I'm going to ask the question, which one is it?
I think it's that first one with the
little location spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's an orange, little orange destination point.
Yeah.
I would say some of the most intimidating things could be like just buying a bus ticket. They're making it as easy as possible for people now. And if you're interested in taking public transit, but you find it intimidating, the folks at Omnitrans or at one of these locations will help you to learn how to purchase a bus ticket. And any minute now, I'm sure they're going to have all complete mobile apps where you can just purchase your ticket online from one destination to the other. So don't let fear or intimidation of the unknown keep you from going wherever it is that you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
So did you have something more, Alana, or should we move to the survey?
Well, I think we can move on to the survey. You know, we're just I'm not sure how this would work out, but if they wanted to do like a quick like test run on their end, if they had any questions or wanted more information, we could maybe help them out with that. But I guess maybe in the meantime, we could move on to the survey. And again, I was going to drop in this link to the participants on the call. So
yeah, I've sent this link to Omar, so he'll be forwarding it to the students.
Okay, thank you, Isaiah. That's perfect.
Yeah.
We got one answer.
Got one. Okay.
Got one.
Good.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
A yes to using the app again.
In and out. Yeah, I like that thinking. Yeah. Rachel and Alma, I'll let you share a little information about WTS.
Scholarship.
Sounds good. So on the screen here, WTSIE scholarship applications. So me and Alma and Lisa and actually all of us, we're part of WTS, stands for Women's Transportation Seminar. So we're a non-profit organization and we support and advance women in the transportation industry. And so each year we give out scholarships to high school, undergraduate, and graduate women who are aspiring to be or to work in the transportation field. And so typically we give out on average about $45,000 every single year. So this is a great opportunity. I'm encouraging you to apply. You do need to be a woman to apply to this. But if you're interested, the applications are open right now and they are due October 22nd. So I can pass around the link as well if you're interested, or you can just maybe take a screenshot of the screen here too. It's on our website. If there's anything else you want to add, Alma?
Yes, I've been part of WTS IE for 7 years. I didn't think about it. I just want to let you know that students are actually free for membership. So if you would like to become a member, students are free at WTS. It's also on the website if you would like to see membership, and there's a good way to it'll click through for membership if you would like to become a member.
Well, there's
a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of networking opportunities. There's job opportunities. There's access to our WTS website. So it would be good. You know, you can look around our website, and I like it.
Our programs are primarily virtual right now because, you know, of the obvious, but the next program we have coming up is Friday, 24th of September. The 24th of September from 9 to 11. It's actually a professional development class about how to boost your confidence in the workplace. And our friend Nisa is one of the co-presenters. If anyone on the line is interested in attending that professional development seminar, feel free to email any one of us and express your interest, and we'll make sure that you get signed up. It's 2 hours on Friday, 9 to 11. And usually they do a pretty good job with those professional development workshops. And Nisa is going to be joined by Stephanie Blanco, who's one of the other capital improvement project managers for RCTC. So it should be a very good program.
And you don't have to be a woman to attend the events or be a member. It's only for the application. You do have to be a woman, but to be a member, anyone can join. And actually, we do have a lot of male supporters in our chapter, which is a really great thing.
And in our board too.
Oh, yeah.
We have a lot of so we have supporters all across the board. So also this professional development, it's $15 for members and $25 for non-members. So.
But we'll get you in. Don't let $25 get you back.
Don't let that keep you away. So
no.
Now this is another one where we have numbers. What was so timely about this is, and I'm a member of WTS, okay, is that we're going on November 18th. There are several organizations that will be in a professional roundtable that are that are associations with the transportation sector. WTS International, Conference of Minority Transportation Officials, Latinos in Transit, American Public Transportation Foundation. And many of the same folks here are members of those. The key here is that this particular scholarship opportunity and the application period for it predate the November 18th. And so what made this so great was to be able to make sure in current time that you could have the information so that you can be able to take a look at being able to make an application for this particular scholarship.
What I would say to you, having been on the scholarship committee several times and reviewing the applications, both for our local chapter and the international chapter, is first of all, they range from high school seniors all the way through graduate school. You could be in trade school, and as a high school senior, you may not know exactly what you want to do, but I think that one of the key things about the application is the personal statement and expressing what you would do with the money and how you would use your education to change the world. Be thinking about that. And you could do anything in transportation. You could be an engineer, an architect, or an environmental professional. You could be a business development person or an accounting person or a public outreach person. It doesn't have to be a STEM person, but you do have to be a woman. So there are other scholarships like ASCE, that's particular to American Society of Civil Engineers. You could be a man or a woman and go for that. And Eric can share that information with you later. We didn't have that for today, but the other thing I'd like to say, if you'll move to the next slide, Alana, is here are a bunch of resources and links, not only to our WTS chapter and to the scholarship page, but also to the pages. We should have added Bechtel, but to all of the pages for the corporations for which we work. If you're at all interested in anything that we talked about, go explore our websites, look at some of our projects, read the descriptions of what some of our jobs are and what they might pay. It might further your interest to continue to examine careers in transportation. And finally, we've included all of our personal email addresses. If you find yourself preparing an application for one of these scholarships, or anything related to a career in transportation, feel free to reach out to any of us. We've all agreed to provide this information to you because we're hoping that you will contact us because we want to be a help. What I can tell you as a founder of the WTSIE chapter, we've given away about $450,000 in scholarships in 16 years. And it makes me so happy because I see the folks that have received the scholarships now coming back and being on the WTS board so that they can pay it forward to the next generation. And it really is a wonderful community to live and work and be a part of. And anyway, I don't really have anything more to say except thank you all for allowing us to be with you today. I hope you heard something of interest, and if not today, then stick with it because there are like 16 or 20 other critical infrastructure elements, and they're all hiring, and they're good paying jobs. They have pensions, paid vacation, and you'd be surprised how much easier life can be when you have enough money to pay your bills and you can retire and go on vacation. And a lot of people will say, do what you love, and sometimes what we love doesn't pay very well. What I would say to you is do what you love in your free time. And if you can love what you do at work, all the better, then you can love all around. but having enough money to pay your bills and support your family in the future will make you happier than almost anything I can think of. That's my point of view anyway.
Yes, mine too, Lisa, mine too.
Yeah, you all have been wonderful. And the what is so nice is that when you really connect, what do these infrastructure sectors do? Everything that the pictures that you were seeing, and it's helping with the environment, it's making mobility and access easier, it's helping with healthy communities in terms of pollution and climate. So when you really start thinking about what is healthy water, it's who gets a park, helping to make sure that, oh my goodness, we don't mess with the little kangaroo rats and all. I mean, but really, when you really think about it, and that clicked for me. I said, oh my gosh, I said, these infrastructure. I said, well, it's really about community building, okay? And what are the different kinds of things that are needed in a community, and who are the people that do that? It's the people that are in the infrastructure sector. And so that's why when you can't, so it really gives you a chance to be able to unify, because I think, as everybody was saying, is that, it really makes you be able to do something that's meaningful work, okay, that you can see that you're really able to make a difference. And they are very good paying positions. Honest to God, okay, I'm saying, and so this is good stuff. So thank you so much. You all have been absolutely wonderful and very much appreciated. Once again, this is all the contact information. We always say at AYA that we are an extended family. We do not look at our programs as an event, okay? Part of this is about, that's why we want to make sure that we bring folks who are in organizations that are very committed locally, okay? And so we want you to understand that we're here for you, okay? So everybody was very genuine. If you have a question you want to ask, do you have internships? Could you tell me some more about that WTS or whatever? That's please take us at our word, because we really do want to be able to keep those connections with you.
Yeah, that was dope for real. I was taking notes. I don't know if you can see it, but I got the blur, but I was out here. I didn't think I was gonna be taking notes because I already saw this presentation 1 or 2 days ago, but here I was. So impact is real. So shout out to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Take care, everyone. And so the mighty HDR and partners. And I mean, really, when you start doing more research in it, WSP, Bechtel, Mark Thomas, HDR, they're more than household names, okay? They're people who are building all over the world. So it's really an honor. Thank you.